Welcome back to another segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons. Today, in honor of Mother's Day, I was going to talk about the TV reunion movie Mother's Day on Waltons Mountain. If you're enjoying these, please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and please do feel free to share it with friends, family, anyone you think might enjoy. The Walton series ran for 9 years. 9 seasons from 1972 to 1981. In 1982, we were approached by NBC. CBS had carried the Waltons up until then, and then NBC was interested in doing 3 TV reunion movies. One of them was Mother's Day on Waltons Mountain. The year is 1947, and Mary Ellen is going to marry Jonesy. Our mother, Olivia, is in Arizona for her health. She contracted TB, tuberculosis, and it was recommended that she go to a warmer, drier climate to recuperate, so she has been there. In actual fact, Michael Learned had left the series after about the 7th or 8th season, I think maybe the 8th season, and she had gone on to do the series Nurse. So Michael was actually in New York filming that series. I'll get to how that comes into play in a minute. We've talked a lot about the recipe over these videos and during the seasons of the Waltons. Here at Mary Ellen and Jonesy's wedding reception, people are drinking the recipe. We are post-prohibition, and there is less attention put on people, especially grown-ups, having a sip of alcohol here and there. So the boys, and I expect some of the women, are also sharing a sip of the recipe in celebration. Mary Ellen and Jonesy choose a rather unusual honeymoon. They decide to go camping. The spot where we went camping was actually right near Drusilla's Pond on the back lot of Warner Brothers Studios. So as usual, we were kind of faking those locations. And all while I am driving around in that Jeep, again, all in the back lot through the jungle area of Warner Brothers, up and down and around, and I'm not going terribly fast, which is good. And they would have done an intercut between the actual deer and me seeing the deer, so you never see the deer and the Jeep in the same shot. So I never was anywhere near a deer, and I did not, in fact, hit a deer, I'm happy to say. Of course, Mary Ellen's accident results in her having to have some surgery and being told that it would be dangerous for her to have children of her own in the future. This is the whole premise of this episode. And as many of you had pointed out, there then becomes a discrepancy in later reunion movies where suddenly I have 2 more children that we speak of as if they were mine and Jonesy's natural children, although I don't know that that's ever specifically said, so perhaps we did indeed ultimately adopt. It's a very gray area, and it still does not account for where John Curtis got to, who we've decided did not go poof. Anyway, in this particular case, I have had an injury, and I am afraid to tell Jonesy, so I struggle with that throughout the episode, and it ultimately inspires me to go and visit my mother, to talk over with her how she dealt with coming to terms with finding out that she couldn't have children anymore. The theme of mothers and their children is very prominent in this episode. For me, for Mary Ellen, there is her relationship with Olivia, her own mother, and her emotional distress over finding out that she will only have the one child, and her dreams to have more children with Jonesy, and her recognition that Jonesy wanted a large family of his own. And then there is the relationship between Ben and Cindy's mother, plus Cindy has just had a child, so Cindy's being a mother for both Ginny and Charlie, 2 other children that there was questions about in the reunions. We had nothing to do with that, again, sorry to say. And then there is also the relationship between Aimee Godsey reappears, this time played by actress Deanna Robbins, and she is struggling with her relationship predominantly with her mother, Corabeth. feeling that because she was adopted, she just wants to feel like she has a home, and she feels like she keeps getting sent away, that Corabeth doesn't really want her there, which is not the case at all. But that relationship is a focus of the episode as well. So very much exploring the whole relationship between mothers and daughters, and even sons and moms. So a fitting tribute for Mother's Day. In the whole continuity issue, it's interesting that at one point in this episode, Jonesy makes reference when we're talking about maybe, twins, things like that, and it said something about, I don't think any twins run in the Walton family. Of course, completely forgetting about the episode where we found out that Jim Bob had a twin who died at birth. But Jonesy says that twins run in his family. And personally, twins run in areas of my family, although neither me, my brother, or sister had twins. So perhaps it skipped a generation. I keep warning my son that perhaps twins will come up in his generation. When I do ultimately go to visit Olivia, I supposedly go to see her in Arizona. What in fact really happened was that I was sent to New York. And there, where Michael was filming her series Nurse, our company was able to make arrangements with their company, and we actually shot in the sets that were used as the hospital for the Nurse. And I don't remember if we used their crew or they hired another crew, but we shot there. So that was kind of fun for me to have a trip to New York and spend a couple days there and film those scenes with Michael in a completely different location with a completely different crew. But as I watched the episode, I think they did a wonderful job of it seamlessly intercutting with the style and the look and the lighting and everything else in the rest of the episode of the Waltons. I think I'm more aware in terms of differences in this episode that because this was an NBC production rather than a CBS production, although both by Lorimar, the opening credits and the theme music is different. So must have been something relative to licensing and rights and stuff like that, but always very odd to watch the opening of the Waltons without our iconic theme song written by Jerry Goldsmith. The other subplot in this story revolves around Elizabeth and Drew, her longtime boyfriend, who comes back to visit. Elizabeth is busy writing an essay for school and doesn't immediately have time for Drew. And Aimee, feeling at a loss and wanting to feel important and have attention, flirts with Drew and spends time with him and decides to sketch him, and that comes into a misunderstanding. And then she flirts with Jim Bob, who's very harsh with her. We do have an opportunity to see the garage location right across from Godsy's store, where Jim Bob and Jodie Foster teamed up to run a garage. So in this case, Aimee keeps trying to get everyone's attention and fails, and ultimately Jim Bob says he's going to be the one to walk Aimee to church for the final Mother's Day service, where Elizabeth reads her essay about wanting to be like her mother and speaks beautifully about Olivia and all of her wonderful qualities as a mother, which I think to a great extent many of us, myself included, have worked to emulate. I think it's such a wonderful example of a loving, caring mother, and there certainly are far few better examples of how one might pattern themselves as a mother. So that's what I have for you for this segment of Behind the Scenes of the Waltons, my tribute to Mother's Day. To all of you mothers out there, I wish you a very happy Mother's Day. I hope you get to spend it with your own children. And I hope that for all the children out there, that you let your mothers know how much they mean to you. And here's to family for all of us. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.